Good evening, Graham Rawlins with our Friday edition of News Geelong. Geelong flourished in good weather to celebrate the 224th birthday of Australia yesterday, and the dreams of cabinet maker Graham Wiley were realised when his home-built 15th century sailing ship, Notorious, sailed into Corio Bay. From the world of sport, we highlight the best of the Geelong races held on Wednesday with Mr Transactions John Dunn, while from the weather world, we'll update you on Geelong and the Surf Coast area weather forecast expected over the next 6 days. Notorious by name, sleek and peaceful by action, is the work of Graham Wiley, building a replica of a 15th century Portuguese ship sailing it into Corio Bay in time for the 2012 Australia Day Festival of Sails, as Meryl Friend reports.
I'm standing on Notorious. It's down at the waterfront and will be here until mid-March, and it's been designed and built by amateur boat builder Graham Wiley from Warrnambool. It took about a decade, and it's a wonderful sight for you to come down to see on the waterfront.
Well, it all started, I suppose, with a thought. I don't know, probably about 12 years ago. Prior to beginning Notorious, I was a furniture maker working in Warrnambool, and we collected a lot of timber, Monterey cypress, from the farm trees around there to make into furniture. I was tired of making furniture, so I was looking for something else to do with a lot of timber. So I spent about 2 years researching caravels and the life and times, and then began sawing timber up and launched into this project.
Now, why Notorious?
Well, we called it Notorious because during the research we sort of got a feel of caravels, and back in the 15th century caravels were a very feared vessel. The sight of caravels coming over the horizon struck fear into the hearts of Indigenous people all over the world, and boats at sea, because caravels were fast and agile. They were used as scout and escort vessels for the larger cargo ships, and they were capable of going off and rounding up other ships, and they were just generally feared, and they were notorious.
Well, it's certainly a sight to see down here beside the carousel on the waterfront. Now, what exactly is involved in building a boat like this, and what materials? The cypress, obviously, and how did you put it all together?
Well, firstly, we had to collect a lot of cypress. We've got 3 acres down near Warrnambool, which was pretty well covered in logs, which we salvaged them from farms and parks and gardens. It took about 300 tonnes of logs, and a lot of research, as I'm not a boat builder. I don't actually have a trade, so there was a lot of learning to do all the way along, but fundamentally it's basically the same as modern wooden boat building, in that you start with a keel and the ribs and the deck beams and things like that, and just keep adding bits of timber, and it gets bigger and bigger. And
yeah. What sort of dimensions are we talking about? It's a huge vessel.
Well, she's about 17.5 metres long, about 5.5 metres wide. She weighs nearly 60 tonne. And that's including 12 tonne of bluestone that's under the floor as ballast. And she draws about 2 metres of water, which it's not a lot for a vessel of this weight, and that's part of the one of the attributes that made them so suitable for exploration.
From the waterfront, Meryl Friend, News Geelong.
Thank you, Meryl. A $650,000 government grant will fix the triple-level roofs of the Geelong Performing Arts Centre following the heavy rains of late 2011. Meryl Friend has more.
After severe storm damage last year to GPAC's roof and gutters and seals, which resulted in flooding, Dr Dennis Napthine was able to provide GPAC with $650,000 to help with the repairs.
Some very good news for Geelong and GPAC, with the Baillieu government providing $650,000 to repair the roofs, the gutterings and all the associated damage that was caused by the heavy rains last year. GPAC is an important part of the Geelong community, providing such a great outlet for cultural activities, and so many people in Geelong are involved in GPAC, and the Baillieu government's pleased to provide this money to help fix the problems caused by heavy rains last year.
And so where's the funding coming from?
$650,000 has been provided by the Baillieu State Government, of which $350,000 is coming from Arts Victoria, and $300,000 coming from Regional Development Victoria. And that money from Regional Development Victoria really does indicate how important Regional Development Victoria and the Baillieu government place on having good quality arts facilities in regional cities like Geelong, so that we can make sure they are great places for people to live. It's all very well to have a strong economy, good local jobs, but you've got to have a good quality of life, and Geelong offers all those to people who want to come and live in Geelong and district.
And GPAC's certainly used by many, many people in the surrounds in Geelong.
GPAC is a great facility for Geelong. It's a home for many visiting productions of the highest quality, but of course local productions which are absolutely outstanding. And of course we've got Cats, a great local production starting here shortly. So GPAC is a great facility for Geelong, and about 50% of Geelong families use GPAC each and every year, 200,000 visitors a year. It is an absolutely outstanding facility, producing high quality arts productions and great facilities for people who train in dance and music and other associated arts. So that's why the Baillieu government is more than happy to provide $650,000 to fix the roofs, fix the guttering and fix the flood damage caused by the heavy rains last year.
Very, very relieved. Because we had become a bit of fans of the Bureau of Meteorology site, so as we watched the rain clouds come towards us, we were always getting the umbrellas and the buckets out, so it's really good news. Yep.
There's some pretty severe damage up there, isn't there?
There is, yeah. Well, it's a 30-year-old building, you know, most places need a lot of TLC at 30 years old, and this particular challenge of this building is that it's like three buildings cobbled together, every surface is different, so there's a lot of glass with seals that can get worn out. So,
and we were looking at the beautiful slate roof. Is that going to stay?
That's going to stay. Yep, that's the plan.
So when will works commence?
We've got our first project meetings next week, and then we'll be going to tender for contractors, and so hopefully we'll be commencing work by the end of February, and it should only take a couple of months.
So that's not going to interfere with any performances here?
Here, it's all external. One of the biggest challenges is the access to the roof, because there's not a lot of flat surfaces up there, so there may be some disruptions on footpaths, but there shouldn't be disruption inside.
From GPAC, Meryl Friend, News Geelong.
Thank you, Meryl. This is our Friday edition of News Geelong as we go to a break and return with more news after this.